demonstration of making the Codex. And I mean, my first question is, I did this little title screen with the writing and sped it up. I think I sped it up enough that it's not boring,
Right.
but
Wait,
sorry.
is there audio overlay when you when the,
No, that's what we're doing right now.
oh.
So we're going to make the Codex out of what? So first, I'm going to show the tools that we're going to need for this. Yeah, we are recording the video voiceover right this second. First of all, that is a knife of some kind, a cutting tool. And I also have some washi tape that I have. That's painter's tape, which you don't actually need possibly if you have a regular cutting mat. That's for the um, glass mat that I have. The corner cutter there is also optional. You can just use scissors, as I'll show you. It is important you have a long steel or ruler of some kind to help with the cutting. And I'm using a glue stick. You can use whatever kind of glue you'd like. You also need to select a 12 by 12 piece of paper. Now, this is kind of just one of many stacks of 12 by 12 paper that you can have. And I look at all the solid colors and decide, nope, don't like those. And I actually got this on sale from Michaels. And this is where I will say I am not sponsored by Michaels at all, but I will heartily recommend Michaels over Hobby Lobby at any time, just because of the corporate policies of both of those organizations. So we're going to take this 12 by 12 piece of paper, and it's all we need for a complete Papermancy kit. Which you'll see, there's a different video on the measuring of it, but this is just another demonstration of the cuts. Now the tape that I'm putting down is because I have a glass cutting mat, which I love for the aesthetic and also for the ability to glue on it without uh, with a very easily creatable mess. But I have to tape down things because when I try and cut along, I find that the slick surface tends to go away. So I can sort of recommend it. So you're going to measure 6.25 inches down from the top, or 15.8 centimeters, and just draw a horizontal cut all the way across the paper. And there we go. Being careful. I do like using that ergonomic um, cutting tool, but it's basically just an X-Acto blade on a more ergonomic fingertip. You know, by the way, you can all like comment or make questions or things like that as we're doing it.
Is the first cut exactly half?
Yes, it's well, no, it's not exactly half. It's 6.25 inches down, so it's half and then a quarter. And then from the
Mm,
left edge, you measure down to you're going to cut down to the first cut, and it's 4.25 inches. And
mm,
basically, you're trying to get it. You're going to save all the pieces. Um, and the bottom piece is going to end up being your grimoire and your book charm. And then that top piece there that I just put away is going to end up being the fragmentarium for, uh, but this is going to be the codex. So once we have this, we take it and it is a little bit longer. It is 6.25 inches instead of exactly half like you asked, because we're going to take and cut off the bottom 1/4 inches as a strip and use that to make this into a zine friendly piece. So I cut off the bottom 1/4 inch there. It's hiding under the ruler. Ta-da!
mhm,
And that little strip, I am then going to cut in half. Now what this is going to end up being are little holders on the inside cover that you can tuck the zine papers, the zine folds behind, and it'll hold them in place. So I just fold it in half, cut it in half, and now I've got two. If you really want to get fancy, you can get more papers and make all four. I found that two seems to be adequate. I'm
Worked
also
well
trying
for
to get
me
in the
too.
habit of, no, thank you. And I'm also trying to get in the habit of putting my tools away magically through the magic of editing when I'm doing it. So now that you've cut the strip off, you can fold the piece in half. You don't have to use what I'm about to use, which I didn't show getting out, you also need a bone folder if you want to use that. I like the bone folder because especially on the glass surface, it makes a very satisfying crack at the end. Now, each of these pieces, you're going to fold at a 45-degree angle, just basically fold down the end so it makes a little point there. And then you're going to do the other side, and it's the same direction. So you're going to basically turn it into, I think the term is not rhombus, but trapezoid. But basically, you're going to take both of them and just fold those little tiny ones. This is a very fiddly bit, but I have big, fat Irish potato picker fingers. So you can probably do it. And you can do a quick check to see if those little tabs, make sure that they fit over the end there. As you can see, they do. And now I'm going to take, and it's important to know you're just gluing the folded over part, not the strip itself, not the main part of the strip. And you take that, and the reason you can use any kind of glue you need, I just used the glue stick because it was easiest. And you fold those over, give it a little pinch, just to make sure it sets. And sometimes I actually have to go over and the top part didn't set right. So I put more glue on and fold it down. Now I'm going to do the same process, but I'm not going to do it on the bottom part of the codex. I'm going to put along the opposite diagonal corner. Again, that is because if you do have both both sides of the zine underneath those, it helps keep it a little more stable. But it's the same process. You're going to just glue the edges or glue the little tabs and then put it on. There we go. Fold it over. Some of you may be thinking, hey, yeah, that's very clever little paperwork, but how is those little glue things going to hold when it's something that's hoping to put in your pocket, use every day, things like that, and have stresses on it? I'm glad you asked that. Even though you actually haven't. That's where we have the washi tape. Now, I'm not using glue on the washi tape. You can make it extra reinforced by putting glue as well as whatever adhesive is on the bottom washi tape. This is a nice trick, by the way, if you're ever futz with trying to find the tab on a piece of tape, washi tape or whatever. You peel off more and then you fold over the end after you rip it. Save you a lot of time. So I'm going to put the washi tape down, and notice I have a strip that's longer than the book or longer than the codex itself, and I'm going to run it on the opposite side of the paper from the initial strip there that I have. And then, because it is longer, I'm going to use the knife and I'm going to cut it so it's basically a little 45-degree angle tab on the end there. And that will fold over exactly to match the piece underneath. Now you may notice it wasn't exactly because the tape is wider than the strip that we actually used. You can find wasabi tape. Totally different thing. It's not a cooking show. You can find washi tape that is the same, is a 1/4 inch exactly, but you don't have to. But by putting that down, and by reinforcing it on both sides, you'll have something that will hold up fairly well. And again, if you need to make little repairs or put more strips in there, you can. Nothing in Papermancy is meant to last forever. Uh, However, it's not intended to be disposable either. It's just intended to be for as long as it is. Ooh, I like that. I should write that down. So once I've done that, now one of the things that happens with putting them down that and having those what was the wasabi tape, I want to call it maybe I'll just give in and call it wasabi tape. One of the
That's what
issues
it's
with
called now.
having that wasabi tape is it's going to, you'll see in a second, I have to adapt it. But this is also an optional step. I use the corner cutter to go ahead and round the corners just because I like the look of it. I could have also used some of those ink pads and distressed it or put stickers on it. And, it's a kind of thing you can definitely customize yourself. Um, and again, trying to get in the habit of putting my tools away once I am using them. Now, we've got this. What are we going to put inside of it? We're going to put a zine inside of it. And that gives an opportunity for, once again, to show how to fold a 1/8 size zine. I am using pretty high quality paper. You can often go to a thrift store of some kind or other and look in their craft area, and you'll find people have thrown away really nice parchment paper, vellum, fancy letter writing paper or letter printer paper. And I love snapping that up because it does make a difference in the feel of writing on it. When I put
Is this
this kind,
is this a letter paper, letter size?
yeah,
Or is it
this is
12 by 12?
this is
Okay,
letter size paper. Yep. Thank you for asking. That's a good clarification. Yeah, the reason why I make these size is because you can just use letter size paper. Treasure
mhm.
Books, Natasha from Treasure Books, who originally did this 4-part stationery thing, has more customized sizes of paper, and that's the main difference that mine is. So after you fold it into quarters in portrait mode, you turn it landscape. I've also heard this described as make a hot dog. Um, you fold up horizontally that way, and now you're going to, I fold it on both sides, and this is because you're about to make a slight cut in those center two sections. Um, and it's important that you understand it's just the center two, not the full paper. So I get my cutting instrument. If you fold it up there like that, it's easier to make sure that you're cutting right along that line. And then I cut that little slit. You could also rip it. You could use a scissors. It's not that you have to use all these fancy tools and stuff. I'm just kind of a gear nut, and I like doing that.
And it has to be on the fold, right? Because
It
when I
does have to
first did
be
it,
on the fold. Yes.
I did it
Yes.
the wrong way.
So then you fold it in half and squish it together and then fold it over. And it is now a nice little 8-page, if you count the front and back cover, zine booklet. And you can just, again, you can leave it as it is. You don't have to perfect the folds or things like that. But if you want to, you can make it a little more stable and folded by using the bone folder on all of the places where it folded. You can also decide that you want to have the corners rounded as well for the zine. But you can see there you have a little booklet that can be used for any number of things. So the way this gets tucked in, and this is where I didn't use the bone folder at first to make the little space underneath there, but it's easiest if you do use the bone folder. And you push that up in there and it will hold it. And while the back one is holding it, that means you can write on the front cover. Now what happened here is that that little tape kept sticking to the page, so I couldn't get the sheet up underneath the brace there. So I just used my knife, cut off that piece of tape, and now, again, use that to make sure that it's got enough space to hold it. And now that little book will fit right up there. So now I put it in the back one, and that way I can write on the front page. When I've finished writing on the front page, then I can take and put the front page underneath the little brace in front and push that. Now in this
Wait,
particular case, what was that?
why do you have to write on it first? Or you can't put it in first and then write
If
on
you
it?
want to use the front page, I just like using it. It depends on what you're using
Oh, wait, when you
your codex
say
for.
front page, what are you
I'm
referring
talking about
to?
the
The
front page of the zine, the insert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now in
but then
this,
once you tuck it in, then it'll be covered.
yes, yeah, exactly, exactly. So if you're just writing grocery lists or whatever, and you don't need that front page anymore, you can tuck it in, and you don't have to worry about it. You can write all the way to the back. Now in this
Hmm.
case, I just am sort of neatening it up a little bit. like AJ just mentioned, it's important you do it if you're trimming the edges of the paper, that you don't do it on the fold, that you do it on the ragged edge. In this case, I did the corners as well, but I happen to just like the little clicky noises that my corner paper cutter makes. You could equally as well just use a scissors. In fact, I will take at the end here and just to show that you can use a scissors instead, just to ground the edges in whatever way you like. Another fun thing to do is also, I go to thrift stores a lot and you'll find little craft scissors that have like patterns in the blades,
Oh yeah,
and you
those are
can
fun.
trim the edges of the paper with that, and it just becomes a nice fun little thing. As this one works, it's just something that will be the same shape and size as the cover. And the cover is definitely meant to be more durable than the paper inside. You can see there is the book, the
Cute.
Codex. And the idea is
The
you can
codex
take
is
it.
the cover.
The Codex is the entire thing. There's a cover
Uh,
of the Codex, and then the zine is what goes inside. But it's so easy to make a zine that if you use up, let's say I was using it to take notes on the book that I'm reading, and I use it all
mm,
up, I can easily make another one. And
mm.
there you see it fits in the front one, and therefore I can write on the back if I need to. And if I'm in the middle, I can put it in both sides and use it like that.
Oh, so those little diagonal things can also be like page holders.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
like, yeah.
Or holding little, if you don't have time to put it in your fragmentarium, it can hold a little ticket. Or
Mm,
I actually have a slightly more robust version of this that I use, and I actually carry my license and one of my credit cards in it,
mm,
just as
like
an
a little wallet.
easy way to do it. Yeah, and that's how you do it. After
Cool.
that, you put away your tools and you have yourself. Now the question becomes, what are we going to use it for? And that will be the subject of a different video, because I have a few ideas, but it's certainly up to you what you do decide to use it for.
Yay.
It looks awesome. I like the rounded corners.